السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا صدق الله العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us all with an aspect of ta'aleem or ta'allum, learning and teaching, especially being at a masjid that not only is a masjid but also has a madrasa as well, which brings a lot of the barakat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon not just the students, not just the parents, but the entire community. And the students and the teachers, they fulfill this kifaya, right? This fard kifaya, so that the rest of the community would not be in sin. And when they do these types of actions, not just for themselves, but for the entire community, there are methods about going about learning and teaching the deen. And we can look at many stories in the Quran for lessons in this regard. We can look at lessons from hadith as well. One story that sticks out in this regard is the story between Musa and Khadir, which is one of the famous stories in Surah Al-Kahf. And Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu anhu, he narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he was narrating the qissa, narrating the story. And he said that one time Musa alayhi salam, he stood up in front of his community, in front of Banu Israel, and he was giving a khutbah. And somebody from amongst the community asked the question that who is one of the most learned or the most learned individual among the people? Who is the most learned? So Musa alayhi salam is a Nabi, he is a prophet. So obviously who's going to be more learned than a prophet? So he said, I am. Right? He said, I am the most learned. Right? And he didn't attribute any alfaz or any words to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He just said, I'm the most learned. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kind of taught him the method of how you go about saying things, even if you are quote unquote the most learned individual in the community or in the world. And you may think that you are the most learned, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Abdun min ibadina, that there is an individual at the two seas, a slave of ours, Abdan min ibadina. He's actually more learned than you. He has more ilm than you. So when you find out about somebody who has more ilm than you, then what's the mindset that you should have as a Muslim? I have to go meet him. I have to go learn from them. Not, oh man, I'm more than him or I'm better than him. No, you go out and you seek him out. What can I learn from him? What can I benefit from him? So yes, oh Allah, how can I meet this person? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala narrates the whole qissa, that you take a fish and you put it in the vessel and then you set out. And that area that you lose the fish, okay, that's where you're going to find him. So he said, okay. let's go ahead and do that. So Musa alayhi salam go ahead and went ahead and took the fish. And he told his assistant, who was a Nabi as well. This is another aspect, okay, teaching the same point, that you learn under somebody senior and somebody more experienced than you. So his assistant, Musa alayhi salam's assistant, was none other than the Prophet Yusha bin Nun. So he was with him. And he was would be doing some of the work for Musa alayhi salam. So they went ahead and they stopped at this boulder, at this rock, and they rested there. When they went to sleep, this fish that was supposed to be their food somehow moved around and jumped out and went to the sea. So, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes, gives a description of how that sea looked and what happened to that fish. But when Musa alayhi salam, he went to his companion and he was asking about the fish. So he said, فلما جاوز قال لفتاه آتنا غداءنا لقد لقينا من سفرنا هذا نصبا. He went to his assistant and he said, bring us our food. We're tired, hungry, did all this work, so let's eat. Let's eat. So he said, قال أرأيت إذ أوينا إلى الصخرة فإني نسيت الحوت وما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان أن أذكره. So he said that, you remember that time when we were actually, he's trying to tell him, made a mistake. Remember that time we were actually by the rock? And, what happened was, وَمَا أَنْسَانِيهُ إِلَّا الشَّيْطَانِ. Shaitan made me forget. He made me forget, and that food that we had, the fish that we had, it was a miracle that happened. And I actually forgot to tell you about the miracle too, but the fish slipped out. And it went to the sea. And it wasn't for me. That's from Shaitan. He made me forget. He made me forget to even tell you about the situation. It was a miracle to see, but I just forgot to tell you about it. So that was the whole purpose. They went back to start retracing their steps. Okay, let me get back to that rock. No, because that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them that you're going to find this man who is more learned than you. So he goes up and he goes to the rock and he sees this man laying there. He's completely covered. He says, salam to the individual. And he says, I'm Musa. Before he said that, he said, what type of greeting is this? Where did you get this type of greeting from? He says, Assalamu alaikum. Where do you get this salam from? Where did you learn this greeting from? And he told him that, I am Musa. He said, Musa Bani Israel? He said, yeah, Musa Bani Israel. He said, I came to you so I can learn something from you because you're given some knowledge that I don't have. So Khadir told him, student, you won't have the patience with me. You're not gonna have the patience, okay? You wanna come here and learn, but you're really not gonna have the patience. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he narrates the qissa that قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. That may I follow you provided that you teach me some of the guidance and some of the ilm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. So despite Musa alayhi salam being a prophet, him being a Nabi, even at that stage, has that rank, he still went out and sought knowledge. Now, this is something that we can learn from lesson number 1. That it doesn't matter how much ilm, especially when it comes to the deen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you with, you still go out and you seek. Because that ilm shouldn't give you kibr, it actually should bring you down more and make you more humble. That's the whole purpose. That's what Shah Waliullah says, right? When fruits are on a tree, then the fruit bring the tree down. So it's supposed to make you humble. That's the whole purpose of ilm. And if it does the opposite, then the ilm is not working for you. You got to work on that. So he said that, let me go out and sit in your company and learn from you. So إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعَيَ صَبْرًا. You're not going to have this patience. وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. How can you be patient with something that's beyond your realm of knowledge? And Abu Hayyan, he mentions in his Bahr al-Muhit that majority of the scholars, they hold the opinion that Khadir was a Nabi as well. And he had this other type of knowledge, yani of the inner dimensions. And the difference between his knowledge and the knowledge of Musa alayhi salam was that he had knowledge of the inner dimensions, while Musa alayhi salam had knowledge of the zahir, kind of the apparent injunctions and the rulings of the Sharia. So this was kind of the difference in regards to their ilm. So he told him, as a student would say, "Satajiduni insha'Allah sabira." Keep a look at the words that he. Remember we talked about this, the qissa before, about saying insha'Allah. So he said, "Satajiduni insha'Allah sabira. Wala a'si laka amra." Yes, you say that I won't be patient, but I promise you, I will try my best to be patient if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. And I will not disobey your orders. No. قال فإن اتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرا. Okay, fine. You say you're going to be patient, then don't ask me anything. Don't ask me any follow-up questions to anything that I do. I do something, you better listen and obey. Don't ask me any follow-up questions. You know how students say, "Yeah, I promise I won't ask anything." And 2 minutes later, they'll ask something. You see that in class every single time. Like I told you, wait till the end of class. No, can I ask one thing? But you didn't listen to the instructions. You gotta wait till the end. Last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes are where we'll do a Q&A. So he's telling me, wait till the end for your Q&A. Not right now. Q&A not in the middle. No. So فانطلق حتى إذا ركب في السفينة خرقها قال خرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا. So they went out and there was a ship. So they needed a ride. So they're okay, fine. Musa alayhi salam and Khadir, go ahead, you guys can come on our ship, get a ride. So he said, okay, let me just go downstairs, take a little axe and start breaking the ship, make a little hole in it. Hopefully I didn't break this. So you make a hole in it. And then Musa alayhi salam's looking at him. Maybe he'll put it back. Maybe he's like fixing it or something. He makes a hole in it. And he kind of leaves it be. Water is about to start gushing in. He said, well, you made a whole kharq in it. You made a whole hole in it. Everybody's going to drown. He said, what? He said, no. قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. So kind of pay attention to the words as well that Khadir alayhi salam, he said to Musa alayhi salam. He said, قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. Didn't I tell you that you won't have patience? There's no laka here. So he's telling him, but he's still being a little bit patient with him. And did I tell you that you weren't going to be able to handle this situation? The things that I do, it won't make much sense to you. قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت. Fine, sorry. I made a mistake. Nasit yani nisyan. It wasn't on purpose. It was by accident. I promise. It was by accident. لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا. Excuse me for my forgetfulness and forgive me for my mistake. Don't be so hard on me. Usra. Don't be so difficult on me. Okay. Fine. Okay, fine. That was the first. So, people make a mistake. So he was like mashi. فانطلق حتى إذا لقي غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا. So they went ahead and they saw a boy. So Khadir grabbed the boy, kills the boy. No. First time was nisyanan, right? Musa alayhi salam, it was just by accident. Yeah, it was nisyanan. I was just, I saw something kind of strange and it didn't make much sense to me. Maybe, after you said not to ask any questions, so maybe there was some hikmah behind it I didn't understand. But this one, أَقَتَلْتَ نَفْسًا زَكِيَّةً, you just killed some little boy. You just took the life of some little boy. لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُكْرًا. Nah, there's no nisyan about this. This is what you did was completely wrong. Huh? What a terrible thing, what a horrible thing this what you have done. No. Then he says, then pay attention to the response that Khadir gave. قال ألم أقل لك. Now he added the word لك. قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. There's already enough ta'keed. There's already enough emphasis there. Inna. Right? There's already there. But then he also added لك. Didn't I tell you that you will not be patient? You will most definitely not be patient. No. قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدني عذرا. So Musa alayhi salam responded that if I ever question you about anything, then do not keep me in your company. Okay, give me one more chance. One more chance, please. If I question one more time, then you have the excuse to just let me go. So third, فانطلق حتى إذا أتيا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا. They went to a city. They were traveling. They were tired. So they asked the people of the city, can we have some? Can we stay here? Can we have some food? Can we rest? فأبوا. They said, no. Who are you? Get out of here. You're not staying here. فأبوا أن يضيفوهما. They said that you can't be our guest. So they were making their way out of the city. فوجد فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقام. So they found, remember, both of them. فوجد, it's dual. فوجد فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقام. So they both saw this wall about to fall. فأقام. And he said that you went to that wall, you fixed a wall, you took time out of your day, sweat, energy, everything to fix the wall. You could have, got paid a little bit. Why did you ask for some money? No. لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا. He said, all right. هذا فراق بيني وبينك. Remember in the beginning, he said, مجمع. The word مجمع al-Bahrain was used. That you're going to meet him at this area of the sea, at the Jama of the sea. Now he's saying قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك. Now, okay, this was where we go our separate ways. هذا فراق بيني وبينك. This is where we part ways. Musa alayhi salam is receiving the information from Khadir. Okay, I'm going to explain to you every single thing which you could not, bear patiently. So he starts explaining one by one. أما السفينة. All right, let me tell you about the ship. أما السفينة فكانت لمساكين يعملون في البحر فأردت أن أعيبها وكان وراءهم ملك يأخذ كل سفينة غصبا. You know that ship that you were talking about? That ship, there was actually a king, there was a tyrant king. What he was doing, he was just confiscating everybody's ship and taking it for himself. I believe the story mentions he was taking it for some army or some what have you. But he was basically confiscating all of the ships there. So I wanted to just make a slight type of defect and damage in it so that tyrant king wouldn't take that ship. So this was the kind of the hikmah behind that. Okay, fine. وأما الغلام فكان أبواه مؤمنين فخشينا أن يرهقهما طغيانا وكفرا. And you know that boy that was killed? Okay, his parents, they were مؤمنين فخشينا. They were true believers. They had iman. And we feared that he would pressure them into defiance and lead them into sin and kufr. So فأردنا أن يبدلهما ربهما خيرا منه زكاة وأقرب رحمة. So we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give them another could be many things, but maybe the obvious meaning is that we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give them another child that would be righteous, that would be more virtuous, that would be caring in his place. وأقرب رحمة. وأما الجدار. And lastly the wall. فكان لغلامين يتيمين في المدينة وكان تحته كنز لهما وكان أبوهما صالحا. That wall, that belonged to two orphans in the city. And under the wall there was a treasure. Now, their father was a righteous man, he kept his treasure there. And that your Lord willed that these children, when they become of age, they become baligh, that they were going to retrieve this treasure as a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I did not do all of this, on my own. This is the explanation of what you couldn't bear patiently. So the Prophet ﷺ, he made a comment after the whole qissa that وَدِدْنَا أَنَّ مُوسَى كَانَ الصَّبَرَ حَتَّى يَقُصَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا مِنْ خَبَرِهِمَا. That we wish that Musa ﷺ was a little bit more patient so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give us more information about them. We wish that Musa ﷺ was just a little bit more patient so we could get more hikmah from the story and learn a little bit more. So there's many lessons that we can derive, but since we're sitting in a a masjid that has his classes and has other durus that happen here. MashaAllah, one thing that the teacher will tell you is that not everything will make sense to you at this time. At this time and place, it may not make sense to you. And maybe 1 year, maybe 20 years, maybe 30 years down the line, it'll make sense then. Heck, maybe when you have kids of your own, then it'll make sense. And maybe even then it won't even make sense to you. Okay. But just because you don't understand the hikmah of something doesn't make it wrong, doesn't make it incorrect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does things according to His knowledge, not according to your knowledge. So that's one aspect. Number two is that just as the Prophet ﷺ learned from Jibreel alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam being a Nabi, learning from Khadir alayhi salam. So this concept of humility and humbleness that we show to our teacher, even if we quote unquote have more qualifications than them. But the adab of the student is that they show humility to the teacher. And you're not going to find that in the secular schools. I taught there, I've been there, I've seen it. You'll see the students with their feet facing the teacher eating some Doritos, and just that's how they're sitting in class. What are you going to learn from the class? The goal is to we pass this exam and that's it. So the receiving the teacher's dua is critical, and having adab for the teacher is critical for the success of that student. Not just in that class, not just in the dunya, but in their akhirah as well. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all humility and humbleness. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strive on this path of knowledge. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.